The news broke like a thunderclap across the globe. A joint statement flashed across screens. The United States officially designates the Republic of the Philippines as its primary strategic partner in the Indo-Pacific. The implications were immense. In newsrooms and trading floors, a nervous energy crackled. This was no ordinary diplomatic press release. It was a tectonic shift in global power dynamics, a line drawn in the contested waters of the South China Sea. The world held its breath. At the United Nations, diplomats scrambled for answers, caught off guard by the boldness of the move. The message was clear. America was not just present in the Indo-Pacific, it was anchored by a revitalized alliance. The Philippines, a nation of over 7,000 islands, was now at the center of Washington's regional strategy. In Manila, cautious optimism and national pride swept the streets as people gathered around televisions, sensing they were no longer standing alone. The alliance felt like validation, a promise of support after years of encroachment and harassment at sea. In Washington, officials called it a historic turning point, the result of months of secret negotiations and meticulous planning. The world was now witnessing the public face of a strategy forged in private. The announcement was a signal to allies and adversaries alike. The geopolitical map of the Indo-Pacific had just been redrawn. For the Philippines, it was a moment of profound significance, a nation thrust into the spotlight as a key player on the world stage. The declaration was more than a headline. It was the opening chapter of a new era in international relations. The stakes were high, the promise and peril equally real. The world waited to see what would happen next. This alliance is more than a renewal of vows. It's a fundamental strategic pivot for the United States. Elevating the Philippines to primary strategic partner signals a concentrated effort in a geographically critical nation. This isn't just about military posturing. It's a comprehensive alignment, economic, diplomatic, and cultural. The shift is a response to escalating tensions and daily gray zone tactics in the Indo-Pacific. Harassment of Filipino vessels and swarming of fishing grounds demanded a stronger, unified response. Washington saw that passivity was no longer viable. A clear commitment was needed. The new designation means deeper intelligence sharing, joint planning, and significant U.S. investment in modernizing the Philippine military. The goal, a credible deterrent, making it clear that aggression against the Philippines would trigger a swift response. For both nations, security and prosperity are intertwined. This is a partnership born of necessity, fortified by a shared belief in a free and open Indo-Pacific. It's not a relationship of convenience, but a dynamic alliance for a new era. The global reaction was swift and divided, exposing the world's geopolitical rifts. In Southeast Asia, relief was palpable. Vietnam and Malaysia saw the alliance as a stabilizing force. Public statements were measured, but privately, leaders hoped for a more predictable rules-based environment. U.S. allies like Australia, Japan, and South Korea applauded the move, seeing it as reinforcing regional security. In Tokyo, officials said the partnership would contribute to Indo-Pacific peace. For these nations, the alliance upholds international law and the status quo. Beijing's response was immediate and sharp, condemning the move as Cold War thinking and warning of countermeasures. Chinese state media accused the U.S. of turning the Philippines into a pawn, signaling heightened competition ahead. Elsewhere, many nations chose silence, carefully neutral, wary of being drawn into a confrontation. Their silence underscored the world's growing multipolarity and the difficult choices facing nations caught between China's economic pull and America's security umbrella. The world was watching, uncertain if this alliance would be a cornerstone of peace or a catalyst for conflict. The stakes had never been higher. For Filipinos, the alliance's impact was immediate and personal, especially in coastal communities. In Palawan and Zambales, fishermen who once feared venturing into traditional waters felt hope return. Roberto, whose boat was damaged by a foreign vessel, said, "For the first time, I feel like we can fish without fear." The announcement was a lifeline. Families could dream of returning to the rich waters their ancestors fished. Within days, joint patrols between the Philippine Coast Guard and U.S. Navy began. The sight of American warships alongside Filipino vessels sent a powerful message. Support was real. Reports of harassment dropped significantly. With greater security, fishermen ventured further, markets thrived, and local economies revived. The alliance wasn't just geopolitics, it put food on the table and restored dignity. For these communities, it was a promise of a more stable, prosperous future. The partnership meant sovereignty reclaimed and hope restored. The sea, once a source of fear, was theirs again. The revitalized alliance is built on action, not just words. At its core, modernized military cooperation and strategic placement of U.S. forces at key Philippine bases under EDCA. These shared sites allow rapid response to crises, natural or man-made. Interoperability is the goal. American and Filipino forces training and operating seamlessly. Joint patrols in the South China Sea are now sustained, coordinated operations, enforcing international law and protecting Filipino economic activities. On a Philippine frigate, Filipino and U.S. officers share real-time intelligence, a visible deterrent against coercion. The alliance extends beyond the military. U.S. investments upgrade infrastructure, ports, and communication networks, benefiting both readiness and local economies. New programs target cybersecurity, maritime awareness, and disaster relief, building resilience across Philippine society. Enhanced surveillance technology combats illegal fishing and marine pollution. Educational exchanges and medical missions reach remote villages. This is a holistic partnership woven into daily life, fostering shared prosperity and security. To grasp the alliance's value, look at a map. The Philippines sits at the Indo-Pacific crossroads, controlling vital sea lanes for global trade. The Luzon Strait is a choke point. Billions in commerce pass through daily. Its islands form a natural barrier, crucial for regional security. A strong alliance lets the U.S. and allies monitor and respond to threats, maintaining stability. The Philippines is a vibrant democracy, a natural partner for the U.S. in upholding a rules-based order. This partnership is about shared values, freedom, human rights, and the rule of law. As a founding ASEAN member, the Philippines' stance shapes regional unity. Strengthening the Philippines means strengthening ASEAN centrality. The region's future should be determined by those who call it home. The U.S.-Philippine alliance is rooted in over a century of shared history. Forged in the crucible of World War II, the bond of sacrifice endures. The 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty remains the bedrock, now clarified to cover attacks in the South China Sea. Annual Balikatan exercises have evolved, focusing on maritime security and territorial defense. The alliance adapts to new threats, building on a legacy of cooperation. Recent agreements update, not replace, old treaties, energizing the partnership for today's challenges. The Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement paved the way for deeper collaboration. Looking back provides context and confidence to move forward. Today's alliance is the next chapter in a long story of shared vision and resilience. The alliance's revitalization is a direct response to China's growing assertiveness in the South China Sea. Beijing's strategy, militarized islands, maritime militias, relentless harassment, created instability and challenged Philippine sovereignty. Filipino fishermen were driven from their waters. The Coast Guard faced dangerous confrontations. Manila had little choice but to seek a stronger security guarantee from its oldest ally. The alliance is a defensive measure, restoring deterrence and upholding international law. It sends a clear message: aggression against the Philippines is a grave concern for the United States. The goal is to prevent miscalculation and defend the rights of all nations in the region. This partnership stands for a rules-based order, not intimidation. This alliance is more than strategy. It's a beacon of hope for a peaceful Indo-Pacific. It affirms shared democratic values and a commitment to a system based on laws, not power. The partnership protects people, ensuring fishermen can work safely, safeguarding the environment and creating economic opportunity. By working together on security, climate resilience, and development, both nations invest in human security. The alliance is built on resilience, forged through history, and ready for the future's challenges. This is a long-term commitment to adapt and stand together. It's a declaration that freedom, law, and peaceful resolution are worth defending. For the Philippines, the Indo-Pacific, and the world, this partnership is a symbol of unity and hope.